Have you ever entered a house and instantly felt unwelcome? Not because of people, but because something unseen was already there, watching you. Tonight's story comes from Makonde City, an old coastal city in East Africa, where colonial buildings still stand. Churches ring their bells every Sunday, and locals avoid certain streets after sunset. People say Makonde has two lives, one in daylight and another after dark. This story was shared with me by a man named Daniel Carter, a devoted Christian who never believed in witchcraft or curses, until his family became part of one. And before we begin, ask yourself, if evil entered your home slowly, would you notice before it was too late? Daniel grew up in a quiet neighborhood near St. Lazarus Church, one of the oldest churches in Makonde City. His family was deeply religious. Prayer was part of daily life. Every evening, his mother read Bible verses aloud while the family sat together. Their home was peaceful, until June of 2015. That was when Daniel's aunt, Mary Johnson, came to live with them. Mary was only 29 years old. She had always been cheerful and full of energy, but when she arrived, something felt wrong. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were sunken, and she spoke very little. Doctors had been unable to diagnose her illness. Tests were normal, yet she kept getting weaker. At first, everyone assumed stress or depression, but strange things began happening the very first night. Around midnight, Daniel woke to the sound of metal hitting metal, a soft clinking noise coming from the kitchen. He thought someone was awake preparing food. But when his father checked, the kitchen was empty. All utensils perfectly arranged. The sound stopped instantly. The next night, it happened again. Always after midnight. Always when Mary was asleep. Within days, the atmosphere inside the house changed. The air felt heavy. Walking through the hallway felt uncomfortable, as if someone stood just behind you. Lights flickered without reason. Doors that were fully closed appeared slightly open moments later. Mary began talking in her sleep. Not normal talking. Whispering in a language none of them recognized. Sometimes her voice sounded older, almost like another person speaking through her. One night, she suddenly woke screaming, clutching her legs and crying that something was pulling her downward. Doctors found nothing physically wrong, but her condition worsened rapidly. She stopped eating, she barely slept, and she repeatedly said one sentence: "Someone doesn't want me alive." Makonde City frequently experienced power outages. During those blackouts, the house became terrifying. Every time darkness filled the rooms, footsteps echoed upstairs. Slow walking sounds crossed the courtyard. Once, Daniel clearly saw a shadow pass across the wall even though no one had moved. Fear slowly replaced normal life. Finally, Daniel's father contacted Father Samuel, a priest known for helping families facing spiritual disturbances. When Father Samuel entered Mary's room, he paused at the doorway. His expression changed immediately. He began praying quietly before even stepping inside. After examining the house, he told the family something they never expected to hear. This may not be sickness alone. He blessed the house with holy water and placed small crosses in each room. That night, he instructed everyone to keep doors open and remain inside while he prayed. As the prayers continued, a loud crash came from the kitchen. Everyone rushed there. Nothing had fallen, but the temperature felt suddenly cold. Mary began crying uncontrollably in her room. The priest prayed louder until sunrise. For a short time, peace returned, but Mary never recovered. 3 days later, she died in the hospital. Doctors called it organ failure. The family buried her beside St. Lazarus Church. They believed the nightmare had ended. They were wrong. 2 weeks later, Daniel's second aunt, Rebecca, came to stay with them to help the grieving family. She slept in Mary's old room. On her second night, Daniel woke at 2 a.m., feeling unable to breathe. He stepped into the hallway and saw Rebecca standing still, staring into darkness. She turned slowly and asked, "Did you hear her calling my name?" Daniel asked who. Rebecca whispered, "Mary." From that night forward, Rebecca began experiencing the same symptoms: leg pain, exhaustion, strange dreams. The noises returned: scratching inside walls, footsteps during blackouts. One evening during prayer, Rebecca collapsed and began speaking in a deep, unfamiliar voice. Father Samuel returned immediately. During prayer, Rebecca screamed violently and then fainted. Afterward, the priest said something chilling. "Whatever followed Mary has not left this house." He performed another blessing and placed a bowl of prayed water under Rebecca's bed overnight. In the morning, the clear water had turned dark, black. Floating inside was a small cloth doll wrapped with thread and pierced with needles. The priest burned it outside while praying. Rebecca slowly recovered afterward. Life finally returned to normal. Years passed. Daniel grew older and fell in love with a woman named Grace Miller. They planned to marry in 2022. Everything was perfect until Daniel suddenly suffered a severe heart attack despite being young and healthy. After surviving, he began sensing a presence near him at night. The window beside his bed rattled lightly. Sometimes he felt someone standing behind him while he prayed. A church elder later told him someone may have tried to spiritually harm him out of jealousy. Daniel ignored it. But soon Grace became ill. High fever, sudden anger, moments where she failed to recognize him. One night she pushed him away and whispered, "Something is here, and it doesn't want us together." Doctors found no explanation. She improved briefly, and they married anyway. For a few months, life seemed happy. Then her behavior changed again. Fear, restlessness. She claimed she saw a shadow standing near the bedroom door every night. One morning, Daniel received a call. Grace had died suddenly in the hospital. No medical cause was found. Daniel fell into deep depression and severe illness afterward. A visiting pastor later prayed over him for several days and claimed objects connected to dark rituals had been hidden against the family years earlier. After intense prayers, Daniel slowly recovered. But even today, he says the feeling never completely disappeared. Sometimes at night, when the city loses power and darkness fills his home, he still hears faint metal sounds in distant rooms. And sometimes, he feels someone standing just outside his bedroom door, waiting, watching, silent. So now I ask you, was this only coincidence, an illness? Or can jealousy and hatred truly invite something unseen into a family's life? And if you heard footsteps in your house tonight, while everyone was asleep, would you open the door, or pretend you heard nothing? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and become part of our storytelling family. And tell me honestly in the comments, do you believe evil needs permission to enter, or does it find its own way inside? Good night.